Hey guys, so it is a brand new day. It's gorgeous out. It's not too hot. And I got the Lexus on 4 jack stands. She's currently flying. So let's open up the garage. And so I started taking apart the engine yesterday. Took the turbo off. And I'm gonna have to hold the exhaust up. So you can see the little hole right there. I actually looked inside the block, so I found the piece for the top of the rod that goes to the piston. It like broke off, and if I look inside and I look at the crank, there's no rod anymore. So like the rod is completely gone. So I got the intake off, and I just noticed the intake has a huge crack there. A little one underneath. So I don't know if the back pressure did that or it cracked. And then cylinder number 1 didn't get enough air or something and blew the piston. Maybe. It's hard to see in there, but the valves right now are closed, so maybe I got lucky. But I was looking more into the block, and you can see now. I got a little window going through. There's no rod whatsoever on that. I think, yeah, that's the balance shaft that's fucked, and the piston's actually right there. So I can't wait to take off this head. It's going to be spectacular damage. I can't wait to take off this head. It's going to be spectacular damage. But first I got to take alternator off. Got most of the accessories off in the front. Just got to take my oil filter housing, this pulley, the Kigley wheel, oil pump sprocket, alternator. Oil pump's fucked, so there's no use taking this off, but I might take it off to keep this balance shaft elite cap. Transmission, clutch, and then I'll be ready to take the head off. That's crazy though. Hello! Tranny is off, clutch is off, got the valve cover off, and found these two little kitties just chilling here in the pocket. Those are the stock roller rockers, and to me that's a bad sign. That means that the piston probably came up, hit the valves, and somehow made the rockers come off. I don't know. Maybe the abrupt stop shake the rockers out. I don't know. This is not normally a thing you have problems with the rockers. This isn't an SR or anything, but I'm gonna go ahead, crack all the bolts, and take the head off.
Racing queen, you make my heart
piston go? It's all the way in the pan. That's crazy. The cylinder walls actually look pretty good. Not really scored at all. Little spots, but I think a little bit over and would have been fine. That's funny. Alright, so the head definitely gonna so the head's definitely gonna need some new valves, 2 minimum for the intake. I'll have to get the rest checked to make sure, but this is one of Pizarski's spare heads. I got a spare head right there, and I have another one way up there. Anyways, that one has 2 bent valves. This one's perfect. This one has a 3-angle valve grind on it, so maybe these would be better. But all the parts are interchangeable from the 1st gen heads to the 2nd gen. This is Evo 4 to 9, and this is Evo 1, 2, 3 DSM. So like the rockers and stuff, they pop out. Same thing with the lifters. I didn't know this one already had upgraded lifters. So, if I want to show you. So I don't know if you can see the whole opening at the top here. This is an aftermarket lifter. This is the 3mm, and this is the stock 1, I think. I don't know. Anyways, it's kind of cool that this engine came with upgraded lifters, so I don't have to get some. And I always wondered why it never knocked or anything. So, boom! Here's the new engine, 4G69, baby. Gotta get that focus going. So I just whipped on the mounts real quick just to make sure they bolt up. The bolt down here actually I need to rethread, so it's not that big of a deal. But, pretty sure I'll be able to use this oil pump cover. I'll have to do a balance shaft delete. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to use this oil pump cover. I'll have to do a balance shaft delete. Take off the balance shaft, put the cap, put the balance shaft delete shaft inside here. Put the Kigley 12 point wheel, take off the crank, put the crank. I have to get a new pulley for the oil pump. I'm thinking of doing a underdrive, which will lower my oil pressure. I can put the other water pump. I'll have to get a new timing belt, take the head off, install the idler pulley and the timing belt pulley from the other engine. And then I'll have to get this head machined, get the block surfaced maybe. I'll have to get pistons and rods for this one. I actually sourced some 7-bolt rods, some Eagle rods, good for 900 horsepower. So why the 4G69 block? It's a non-turbo block, Sean. What's going on? So this block comes stock with Mitsubishi's lightest 100mm crank, which is technically a stroker crank. All the guys who have 4G63s and put a 100mm crank with rods makes a 2.3 liter. That's exactly what Jacob has in his. So this one has a stroker crank already, and it also has a really big bore. The problem with having the really big bore, instead of having the 4G63 85mm, it actually makes it closer to 2.4, and there's like a difference of 50 thou from the 4G63 rods to the 4G69 rods. So you can put bolt-on 4G63 rods in this block. So that's what I'm planning to do. And then you got to get basically stroker pistons, which are 87mm. You can go 87.5 and 88mm, but then 88mm, you're playing with the wall thickness of the cylinders. 87 is probably the widest you should go. So what I'm going to try and do is just get this block clean and just give it a quick hone and put 87mm pistons in. Put new ACL race bearings, the ARP studs on the crank. So ARP studs for the main bolts and ARP studs for the rods. ARP head studs that I have, the upgraded Brian Crower valve springs. It'll have a freshened up head with all the machine work to do to the valves, so that'll be all good. I might have to get a couple of valve seals maybe. I'm not sure. I'll have to speak to the engine guy. Install the 4G63 water pumps. I'll have to get a gasket. I'll have to get a gasket for the oil filter housing, a gasket for the oil pump housing, because I got to do the balance shaft delete. And then there's an English Racing overdrive or underdrive pulley for the oil pump to lower the oil pressure. Basically, you want about 10 psi per 1,000 RPM. And when I started the 4G63 cold start, I would get 60 to 45 psi idling at 1,200. When it was fully warm, I'd get about 20 to 25 psi at 1,000, and probably over 90 or 100 psi at full pull red line. So I don't know if that contributed. I don't know if that contributed to the bearing let go. See, I don't know if it's the bearings that let go, the rod, or the piston, because the piston is separated from the rod. I have that piece. The rod is no longer existing. I can't find it at all in the oil pan, just looking at it right there. The piston's cracked in 2 pieces and in the oil pan, and the cylinder walls don't look that bad. So it definitely hit the valve, then went crashing down into the oil pan, making a huge hole on both sides of the block. It was pretty spectacular, let me say that. I was kind of pissed because this is my second run of the day, but what am I gonna do? I really don't think I'll be able to get this engine together for the rest of the season because the money's not there right now. So what I might do is I might design a t-shirt, and then you guys could buy it, and I'll like make, I don't know, $2-3 on the t-shirt, and maybe that'll help buy some parts for that. I have a couple ideas for t-shirts. One is kind of funny, but I am thinking about doing that. So also 4G69 is friggin' funny. One of the benefits for this 4G69, it's already tapped for MEVEC. As you can see, it has MEVEC written on it. So technically I can put an Evo 9 head and run MEVEC. So I was planning on doing this, except the cheapest Evo 9 head I can find with no cams, no springs, nothing in it, which I don't really need because I have like all the lifters and valve springs and stuff. I don't know. So yeah, like the cheapest head I could find of an Evo 9, bare nothing. It doesn't even have the pulleys. It's like $900, so I think I'm gonna wait a while, especially that I don't really need it. Oh, the red light's flashing, so I think that's where I'm gonna leave this video off, or I might continue it later. We'll see. If not, don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.